What's up to Lion Talk Live? So we love you too, buddy.
What's going on, guys? It is Aiden Hutchinson.
What's up, everybody? It's Calvin Johnson Jr. here, a.k.a. Megatron, a.k.a. First Ballot.
What's up, man? It's your boy Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Greetings and salutations to everyone out there in YouTube land. This is Dan Skipper, offensive weapon for the Detroit Lions. Make sure you all help support Lions Talk Live, Coach Dan, by clicking on that like and subscribe button. Everybody, woo!
I love nothing more than watching Lions Talk Live every morning. Woo!
Woo!
Well, greetings and salutations to everybody out there in YouTube land. I am your host once again, Dan Thornton. Hey, I want to thank you all for joining us here today. Lions post-game show, post-victory show, and now you got the bye week. There were a lot of people, even as early this morning, Riley, saying the Lions had no chance. That, the Bucs wide receivers coming back and the Lions having nobody left who was a starter week one of the regular season in that secondary. Recipe for disaster. You take away what the Lions did tonight. How big of a performance is this by the Detroit Lions defense?
It's huge. This is a season. You see it a lot of times when coaches have bad games or drop a game-winning situation where they make a bad decision, and those are season-defining and sometimes coaching-defining eras. Like I think Eberflus in Chicago had a bunch of those where it's, that tipped Hail Mary pass in Washington is just like, man, that was the start of the end. There's already a good thing going here in Detroit, but this is the exact opposite of that with all of the positive effect. Outstanding game from Kelvin Shepherd in the defense. And that's when you say next man up, then you go coach and you put in a game plan and say, that's what we literally expect you guys to go out and uphold your end. And they did, man. They did an outstanding job, made Baker's life very tough tonight.
They did just that. Baker Mayfield, let's go through the stats here. Ducru, I tell you what, let me see if I can bring this up on the screen for you guys. Apologies, trying to do all this stuff kind of last second here. Let me bring it up on the screen. All right, maybe not try to bring it up on the screen. All right, share screen. There we go. That's the button I wanted there. Let's see. Nope. Why? That's the wrong one. All right, we'll go with this one. All right, anyways, Duke, I'm just going to read through it, make it a little bit easier perhaps. Mayfield was 28 out of 50, 56% completion percentage against a Detroit Lions defense that had a bunch of guys that were unemployed or on practice squads just a week ago. When you look at this, Mayfield, MVP candidate, many people saying, Riley, that he is the best quarterback in the league thus far into the season. And to have this kind of performance, how much of a credit should he give to the no-name defense?
All the credit in the world, man. I mean, this is huge. And they talked about it in the broadcast. And I love that Kelvin Shepherd apparently was telling these guys, hey, this is not just a chance for you to put your tape out there for us, but for the league. It's the humane kind of thing about guys. Nobody's taking a job from Terrion Arnold or Brian Branch or Kirby Joseph tonight, but if you go out and put really good tape on, that's something you can feel really, really good about for tonight. And hopefully for this team, they benefit from that going forward. But just outstanding, man. This is Baker Mayfield looked very, very frustrated. I thought he would play a lot better than he did tonight. You have to give the Lions defense credit for forcing him into a really tough night. He overthrew the ball 5, 6, 7 times.
When you look at the Lions now, there's going to be, we all get it. There's going to be the reaction. There's going to be the reaction to the game. Going into today's game, there were a lot of people that are starting to question the Detroit Lions. You haven't beaten anybody. Who have you played? All the stuff that happens whenever a team loses, especially when they don't look great in a loss like we saw against Kansas City. But now this week, you faced a Bucs team, 5-1. They had their 2-star receivers playing the game. I get Evans got hurt somewhere in the second quarter. Wish him well. But the Lions, was this a signature win so far this season for Dan Campbell and the team?
I'm so glad that you brought that up. That is an excellent point because I started even having that thought. Okay, yeah, you had the win in Baltimore. Felt great about that, but they've been, granted Lamar's been out, but they're like 1-5 right now. And then you look at, okay, Cleveland, Okay, Cincy without Joe Burrow, you started to wonder. You didn't doubt the quality of this team, but you wanted to see a quality win. This is a quality win. This is an outstanding win. Tampa is a very, very good football team. So can't say enough about the coaching staff and Kelvin Shepard in particular for drawing up that game plan. But going into the bye, I think the Lions have to feel really good. How do you not feel like you're a Super Bowl contender and in a really good spot at this point in the season?
There was a lot of talk at the start of the season during training camp. Lions don't have enough ability to get after the quarterback. They can't generate pressure. Where are you going to get the sacks? Wheat tonight had 2 sacks. He got this guy off the scrap heap right before the start of the regular season. Then you have Jack Campbell with 1, Derek Barnes with 1. For some reason during the game, I want to say Hutchinson got 1, but they don't have him on the stat sheet with him, so I must be mistaken there. But what can you say about the defensive front of the Detroit Lions, their ability to generate pressure with maybe a bunch of guys most of us didn't have a lot of faith about going into the regular season?
Well, as a Coach Dan, and actually Coach Dan Campbell as well, Coach Dan Thornton and Dan Campbell here. We got a couple of Coach Dans with the Lions, but he tells the truth. And when they said, we feel good about our defensive line, you kind of thought, okay, are they just saying that because they can't find somebody that they want to acquire, like a lot of people speculated? No, they said that they felt good about this room, and it's by committee. And it's amazing to see. I don't know how many sacks did Hutch have a sack tonight? Doesn't even matter. You won the game, but he was in Baker's every play on that drive there in the fourth quarter there. I mean, just impressive how hard he played. I think Hutchins deserves a game ball too. If you're going to give it to one person on the defense, maybe McNeil as well. But man, yeah, they're doing this by committee, and Hutchinson is the best player on the defensive line. But you've also got a lot of really good players on there, and it's awesome to see it because I think that's how you would like it to be set up.
Looking at the stats, Hutchinson's given a forced fumble. I got to imagine that's going to get adjusted to a forced fumble / sack at some point, but we'll have to wait and see. Lions secondary, we all get it. Brian Branch suspended this game, will be back. I'm assuming Kirby Joseph will be back at that point. It does sound like Terrion Arnold's going to come back. Terrion Arnold going into his recent, departure from the team with the injury. A lot of Lions fans were less than thrilled with him, thinking he got penalized too much, this, that, and the other thing. What have you seen out of the Lions secondary since his departure? Are people overreacting to him? Do you think he's better than some think? Where does he fit into the scheme of things?
Yeah, I think when he comes back, you put him right back in the starting lineup. You talked about it too. You don't really know what you have until you don't have it, right? And I think that Hutchinson is or not Hutchinson, the other guys in the secondary they're upholding their own, but you wouldn't be smart to go into the next game thinking, well, just stay rolling with these guys because, talent evens out as time goes on. You need Terrion Arnold to be one of your best players on defense, just as much as you did at the start of the season, just as much as you did week 1 last year against the Rams to open the season when you're putting a rookie out there on a really good team and you go on and win 15 games. And Arnold played his best ball at the end of the season last year. You got to just, when he comes back, put him right back out there and hope that he continues to grow. And hopefully he's inspired by the fact that these guys are playing really well. As a player, that's got to, you're happy that the team wins. But I thought this about Hutch a lot last year too, is how do you feel when you go out, you break your leg in Dallas week 6, and the team goes on and wins 15 games? You kind of say like, man, do they need me? Yes, they need you. And you got to come back and you got to know your value and be confident. And I don't think Terrion Arnold is one that would lack for confidence. So he's one of my favorite players on the team. Maybe I'm biased, but I think he comes back, you put him right back in and say, okay, we expect you to be the player that we traded up for and drafted.
Bucs defense obviously came in, gave the Lions offense some problems. Lions still found a way to win. When you see this year, unlike last year, some of the discrepancy between the amount of carries Gibbs and Montgomery gets, what do you think's going through? I know a lot of Lions fans during the live cast were talking about trying to even it out, but why do you think the Lions coaching staff has started to unbalance those carries?
Well, let's look at Jahmyr Gibbs' stats tonight. I had a good friend, Justin Treese, who's kind of the head guy at the Talking Football podcast, and he was texting me last week. He said, I know Montgomery's a great player, but anytime he's out there, you're taking Jahmyr Gibbs off the field, right? And that's not the recipe for success. Jahmyr, one of the jukes he made tonight was one of the best I've ever seen. what he does statistically with receiving the ball as well. I expected this. I talked about this a lot on the offseason. I don't think it'll be a 50-50 split. I think early in the year, it'll be kind of, they're not phasing Montgomery out, but I think you do start to lean more towards this kind of what we've seen the last couple of weeks. Montgomery, I think, had 4 carries for 4 yards, at least at the start of the fourth, until you go to him when you need to burn out the clock. So Montgomery's no less important on this roster than he's been. He is absolutely still a very important part of this, but I want the ball in Jahmyr Gibbs' hands as much as I possibly can.
I think to your point when talking about Gibbs, he's just so dangerous. And I know they pointed out on Monday Night Football, 200 and whatever it was, 30 yards from him in a game. The fact that you can get that kind of production out of a running back, he's a home run threat, whether he catches it or receives it. He is a rare weapon. The Lions now have 13 days to get ready for the Minnesota Vikings. What, in your opinion, what's priority number 1 for the team over that time?
For sure, the resting up, getting the body right, and just kind of being able to take stock. I remember Anzalone after last year's week 1, he said, "Hey, we do this in quarters, right? 4 games, and you just kind of bite size it that way and assess where you're at." I feel like the team's got to feel really good about where they are at. The NFC is a great conference. It's stronger than the AFC. You've got a lot of really good teams. Philly, Tampa is still a really good team. Green Bay's not going anywhere. I've been higher on Chicago than I feel like a lot of people have. They're a 4-win team that would have been ahead of the Lions in the standings in the division tonight if the Lions had lost. So, and Minnesota, I don't feel like it's going to be going anywhere. To Dallas is in second their division. So all these teams, man, the NFC, it's wide open. It really is. And so for the Lions to get this win, go to 5-2, now they feel like they can truly go lay their heads on their pillows and feel really peaceful. I feel like as you're kind of, assessing where you're at to this point in the season, I feel like it's a good spot, satisfied, but not content, because obviously the goal is to get to the playoffs this year and go win those playoff games and get to the Super Bowl. But 5-2 with this schedule, coming back with your 4 starters and at least 2, right? From I don't know if Reed and Arnold will be back from after the bye. I think Arnold will be, but I'm not sure about Reed. But I feel like it's a good spot to be in. Rest up, evaluate what you've done well, because you've done a lot more good so far this year. But the things that aren't going well, dial those up and figure out how you're going to go about attacking that.
All right, Duke Crew, if you could be so kind before we depart, hit the subscribe, hit the like button, hit all the buttons. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your night. Enjoy this Detroit Lions win. We'll see you all on the morning show, 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. Also have a surprise for the Duke Crew a little later in this week over the bye. So, hey, take care. Do something kind for somebody you don't know. Be a good human being. Riley, anything you want to say where to tell people to come find you and support your content?
Yeah, for sure. Again, I'm part of the Talkin' Football podcast. It's hosted by Justin Treese, Dan Kiefer, and Austin Cunningham. And we actually just got our good boy Doug Anderson back. He was an original member of the podcast. He's coming back, so we're loading up. We've got a full starting 5 out here now, and it's primarily an NFL and college football podcast. So a lot of great coverage. But so whether you're just Lions like me or you love it all, it's a great podcast to follow. And Lions Talk Live, man. This is such a great show, Dan. I've been open with you about all the things I think that you do really well. It's just great, man. It's clear the Duke Crew is supportive of the channel, and so appreciate you guys hanging out. Dan, you started it, 4 or 5 hours ago. You've been on it plus the show this morning. So go have a mini buy yourself tonight. But appreciate all you do, and great win for Lions. 5-2 heading into the bye is not a bad place to be.
Take care. See you all in the morning. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye.